2019 Mountain Dew GSL Season 3 Codex Reversal.
All right, we're back. Dark winning against Keen. The results, not a surprise. The game's certainly exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting surprise to see that Keen is playing that well. But I think his TVZ for now is out the window. We have to assume Dark's going to get out of this group first, which will leave him with only TVTs if he is to advance.
Right. And Keen is also left with a TVT. So it's going to be a little bit scary for whoever loses this match.
Oh, did I say Dark? I meant Keen. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Keen is going to have to...
well, Keen is also only playing T's.
Only playing TVTs.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. I swapped him. Excuse
Everybody's playing T's except for whoever plays Dark.
That's right. Dark looks fine in the matchup. Keen looks good. TVZ, but it's all TVTs for him. That's what I meant to say. Now coming up here, we've got one of our non-Koreans.
Yeah.
The people watching this stream are cheering for him.
Been living with him for a long time. He's
young Juanito.
Works really hard. I mean, I hope he does really well, but we'll see. He's one of the hardest working foreigners I think out of everybody, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. This guy, he embodies RTS, but he's up against FanTaSy.
The legend.
By the way, FanTaSy with a lot of fans down here. Now, I know he played very well in GSL versus the world. He's finished his military service, but FanTaSy was one of the greatest StarCraft 1 players of all time, and he has been playing StarCraft 2 and has stayed with StarCraft 2, despite the popularity of StarCraft Remastered here in Korea.
It's really impressive.
It shows that he really wanted to play this one. There's a lot of money in StarCraft 1 as well, and for a player of his success, you might expect him to be doing that, but instead, here he is. And he said publicly, I like this game better. I want to play this one.
Yeah.
And I have more confidence in myself in this one. So I think SpeCial might be in for a tough series here. There's a chance FanTaSy could take this. He should have won his games in GSL versus the world, but everything went perfectly wrong to stop him. Let's see what happens in Game 1 on Thunderbird. SpeCial versus FanTaSy starts now.
Ocean Gaming Special. Pixel 1 FanTaSy.
It's a lot of fans for FanTaSy.
Yeah, he's got a big following out here in Korea. I'm not sure there's lots of non-Koreans that enjoy this guy's games as well, but I think these older players, especially in Korea, have become more and more popular. There's some Juanito support right there. Some special support. FanTaSy countering the Juanito support. No, but there's been a growing popularity with some of these players that are older and seeing if they can still compete, because there was this whole, if I could be totally candid here, a bunch of nonsense where people were saying that the older players would not be able to compete with younger players. This is all pre-StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
And it seems like there was a lot of players who were older who were not practicing or not in shape, blaming their age for not being able to compete.
Like their hands slowed down.
My hands slowed down. I'm like, what does that even mean? What are you even trying to say here? Your hands slow down. How?
There's some validity to it, but to be honest, it's actually just the work ethic.
It's world-class pianists in their 50s.
Yeah.
No regret. Playing songs very fast. Your hands, if you keep them in shape, will not slow down.
Yeah, the only thing that's valid about the point that they're not good anymore is the fact that you get older, things become more important to you that aren't StarCraft. I mean,
or you have kids, or
your life moves on, and eventually it's not valid to play 14 hours a day every day.
Well, also, that whole thing started, I believe, specifically with an interview, I think, with Slayer's Boxer. And you have to remember that the very, very early StarCraft days, it was a little bit less about mechanical play, and people just sort of had figured these exploits out.
Right.
I'm going to drop tanks here and siege them up on your high ground and hit you there, or I got all these pretty crafty strategies, and then eventually this era of macro players came in.
Players that are actually just really good.
They're just monsters that make a bunch of stuff and also play strategically, and that zoned out a lot of the very, very, the first generation of RTS players.
The same thing happened in StarCraft 2, actually.
Yeah.
When you look at the very first really good, besides MVP, because MVP was like...
Well, MVP was also a StarCraft 1 god that kind of showed up.
Yeah.
And really
Like,
had a pretty good handle on how the whole game was operating.
Yeah, there were a lot of players that in the beginning were just like there, you know, like they played, but they weren't like they were really good at strategies and stuff. And then once all the really good macro players came in and were able to do that as well, like all those players faded away. And then we got people like Stefano, people like Huck, people like Naniwa, or whoever. Right.
People that weren't just using gimmicks.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like I just keep, you know, making this specific unit at this time, and I'm onto something, but nobody's figured this out. Eventually, the players that know how to get. Usually you see an RTS mature when everybody figures out how to quickly take their first base without dying to most basic stuff.
Yeah, once you figure out the meta with not dying, I think that's when the game matures to the point where good players can start proving themselves.
I mean, if you go back to the very, very, very first season of GSL, it's like, oh, so bad. I mean, it's just
love watching
people powering on one
bases,
or, you know, each person powering on one base, and then one guy abruptly rushes the other guy and loses, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't do that if you're both on one base.
It's just funny to watch like how people thought the game should be played.
And these were like really good players doing it too.
The funny thing is too, it's influenced by StarCraft 1, right?
Yeah.
So like StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 are just so economically different, but people played them like they were the same.
Actually, I would actually say at the start people played them just like StarCraft 1 had started, not like how StarCraft 1 was played when StarCraft 2 came out, because there was a lot of really counterintuitive. I mean, we're talking like good players like July Zerg or Nada even, kind of showing up, and they're not really. But I mean, at the same time, I almost don't blame them.
No,
because it's like they don't have all the answers either. It's Artosis has talked about this as well. The way that RTS games kind of organically pan out. Everybody starts rushing, you know, and then there's an eventuality into getting an expansion up, and then you'll also see, of course, people that start to figure out really intense ways to exploit the player that tries to expand. That's why we see some cheeses work.
Right.
But yeah, usually it's people powering up on one base and making a bunch of units and trying to not die to a rush and then slowly take a base. So,
yeah, FanTaSy getting a quick third CC. SpeCial also getting a quick third CC. This is going to be a pretty slow opener. I don't think either player here wants to take the initiative on the map.
And I think especially on this map, why would you?
Yeah, they're just both playing their own defensive game and getting up their economies. Quite excited to see it. It looks like both are going to be playing Bio, so this is usually action-packed in general.
Yeah, this is a very positional matchup, but positions change very quickly. It is a lot about having your siege tank sieging at the right moment, your stim happening at the right time, and your army able to engulf theirs at an angle where they can't recover.
Right.
I think out of all the matchups, the fights, I guess maybe besides ZVZ, but for obvious reasons, Lings versus Banelings, nothing can actually happen faster than that. But you can see that a lot of times, I lost my train of thought. I had my producer talk to my ear. What was I saying, Jake?
Wait.
Oh no, I was talking about how the fights happen very quickly, and so you get somebody out of position, they stim an attack in, and then there's no way to recover if you can't get out of there in time, and so things pick up pretty quickly.
And usually the person who takes the initiative, like TVT is really weird with sometimes where like the person who is the aggressor and the other person actually had a huge disadvantage,
right?
Because you're like attacking into a bunch of people sieged up already. So it's kind of doesn't really favor you if you attack into them, because you're attacking into someone who's already sieged usually.
It's like the way that Terran vs. Terran has always operated is the siege tank has to be respected.
Yeah.
Siege mode is such an incredibly powerful thing. You get the ground damage off immediate, it's splash damage, and then to pair that with stim. Oh yeah, excuse me, we have double factory coming here as well.
Is he building Marauders too? This is weird. So FanTaSy's building Marauders. I guess he's scouted the double fact or something. Generally, you don't build Marauders because Marine like tank is actually really good.
Well, you can get Marines in higher numbers, and when you're stimming, the amount of damage they can gun down. Even though you think Marauders are the natural counter to tanks, sometimes just mass Marine can just spray down so much so quickly.
Does FanTaSy think this is mech? Is that?
I don't know. One thing about FanTaSy historically is he's really good at kind of devising his own strategies.
You scan. Okay, so he just scanned Juan, right? Or SpeCial. He saw what 9 tanks that was, or 7 tanks, and a couple Marauder, or a Cyclone rather.
Right.
That looks like mech, right? I don't know if he hasn't scanned the main or if I'm just crazy here, but I don't know why you'd build Marauders unless you thought it was mech.
I don't know.
Even if it's heavy tank Marines, like it's just Marauders are just bad.
Like, but again, one thing about him is that he's had a lot of his, oh my God, that means one Raven goes down immediately, and I think FanTaSy is way out of position. He should not be this far out on the map. Now he's going to try to drop in here.
I think he thinks it's mech. Look, he's gonna see all these Raxes. Let's see if he changes it up. If he stops building Marauders. I'm very curious. If he sees all these Raxes, he now knows it's definitely Bio. He just he's still building Marauders. We'll have to see if he keeps it up or if he goes more into Marines, heavier Marines. Okay, looks like he is. He's going into Marines. Or he hasn't started Marauder production again. So he thought this was mech, which is really good for special.
He had a bad read here.
So he's got a ton of Marauders, like 11 Marauders. What are these going to do against, like, Marine tank?
I mean, not much.
Yeah, they're actually just bad. Like,
now
nothing to say here.
Fantasy's going to expand here. Do you feel like there's going to be a window of time where you can attack out here as SpeCial?
SpeCial has to be a little bit safer because he has so many tanks. Like, if he gets caught off guard or something,
but
or he gets
with the barracks about to finish, I mean, he's making 10 Marines at a time here.
Yeah, there is a chance he could hit like a 2-2 timing or something, but he also has the tank advantage. He has the Viking advantage. I mean, there's no real reason to push it and possibly lose these advantages that you have. But at the same time, you could use your advantage and just try to end the game as well. I think that's generally, though, a worse outcome. Like, you kind of want Fantasy to attack into you, which is what it looks like he's waiting for.
All right, Fantasy is going to come up here.
Look at all these Marauders. So, yeah, you can see in the production tab, he hasn't built a single Marauder since he scouted all those barracks. So he actually just thought it was mech, which means this is really good for SpeCial. I also think SpeCial was telegraphing that it was mech. So it's actually a good play.
You mean
by
he was
Juan.
projecting it?
Yeah, like he only showed Cyclones and tanks.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty good disguising there.
Yeah. Look at all these Vikings. This is so many Vikings. This is going to be really hard for Fantasy. If an attack does commence, and he does get like this huge positional advantage with Viking tank, like this tank and Viking count is so high that he would just lose. I think this is why Fantasy's posturing so aggressively as well.
Okay,
Ooh.
Fantasy's going to try to come up here. Now he could try sieging up and then leapfrogging some of his army onto the high ground. I don't think it's going to work though. If he does,
he could drop mules to open up this pathway. He's not going to do it.
I don't think it would be that good if he did, though.
It would be hilarious.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't think he would do it, but it'd be hilarious.
He gets style points.
Definitely.
He'd probably get a new little unlockable thing on BattleNet that he'd never seen before for doing that. No one's ever unlocked that one before. But it would never, it would not work because it's going to be too much of a narrow area to try to push through.
You know that
2-2's almost done. 2-2's almost done.
Whoa.
Now, keep in mind the lack of... Oh, hold on. This is just so bad. SpeCial's going to come forward here, and half the army isn't even here.
Yeah, this fight is a little bit interesting. All the Marauders go down immediately. You can see why I said Marauders are terrible.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that is a huge loss. Now, Fantasy's going to try to come in here with 3 medevacs across the map. Is it going to be enough? I'm not clear on what's back at home. SpeCial's turning around.
This is huge. This is really good for Fantasy because he's buying a lot of time, maybe enough time to actually get out an army composition, deal with it.
Well,
he is turning around.
He's going to try to push here.
All these tanks, there's no support for the tanks, though.
There's like 3 Marines down here. Now,
if
he
he
does
drops
take out
these
the
Vikings
additional
on
Marines.
top, he might drop these Vikings on top of these siege tanks and might clear them.
Hold on. He can actually medevac boost these over here and try to help. Okay.
These tanks are so exposed. He's about to lose all of his tank advantage if these tanks go down.
Yeah, but I think he's got medevacs with army coming in over here. I don't know if Fantasy's reacting quick enough.
I don't think he has the
Fantasy's going to try to come back.
Oh,
He's going to U-turn his medevacs back into the natural. But this means that SpeCial's going to keep tank count superiority.
Yeah, this is nice. If he can get this base, that would be, some kind of win. But right now, it feels like SpeCial has the positional advantage here. He also has a huge tank count. Like, this tank count is massive. Looks like this was pushed back too. This was basically Fantasy's only like advantage, was that drop doing stuff, but now it's not doing anything. Liberator. Oh, big stim. He's fighting into a planetary. He does get the Liberator, so at least this siege tanks can still reign superior. Nice drop on these tanks.
Yeah, this is a pretty dangerous position here for Fantasy. He needs to control this, or in a mere matchup like this, you're just going to lose control of this game. It's still Juanito SpeCial, with a superior tank out. He takes out the one Liberator.
Yeah,
these tanks are all pretty brittle. We need to see something here to repair this. Dropping a mule would not hurt here.
He has enough auto turrets that he could possibly clean this up now. He's going to go right before this planetary dies.
Okay, hold on. He's going to try to dive under it.
Oh, here we go.
Disabling this. No need for auto turrets.
Yeah, this is just destroyed.
Yeah, that is a complete one-sided crushing.
The supply advantage is now in favor of Fantasy. That was a
Do you think SpeCial should have just backed off there?
Can you, though? Like, imagine he tries to unsiege. I think then Fantasy just stims forward.
Yeah, I guess it is one thing about siege tanks when you can't pick them up is you're sort of, the position you have is what you get, you know?
Yeah, this is why it's such an interesting matchup, because you have to really make a huge decision when you siege up. You're like committing to this, you know?
Right. I mean, you're basically, yeah. There's no turning back. Stim Marines can easily chase down unsieged siege tanks as well.
When he did commit to the siege, I thought it was a great decision too, right? So there's nothing that could really have been telegraphed to when to back up or anything. Like he did a pretty good job, honestly. Like he had a huge siege tank number, and there was a drop going on his side of the map, so he had to do something. But FanTaSy is playing an incredible game right now.
No, FanTaSy is considering how this started, where he was misled on tech. He's absolutely making this work, and this is a pretty big hit over here. Looks like about 10 SCVs are going to be killed off here. Now, I think FanTaSy had the right idea. He did overstay his welcome a little bit. This is something that can happen in drops, is you need to know when to pull out immediately, and we're seeing a similar situation here for SpeCial, where an initial victory turns into a loss as he's no longer going to have that medevac in those units. Oh my god.
19 workers going down, though. Wow, look at this. He's doing a great job. I mean, FanTaSy is doing a really, really good job. 50 workers to 75 now. I really like FanTaSy's army composition. It's way better than SpeCial's. Like, look at these Raven Viking. Like, the Raven count is really high. It allows you to zone a bit better. Like, you have the disables, you have auto turrets, you have seeker missiles. So in every way, FanTaSy's army is just better than SpeCial's. Look at this disables.
Okay, now FanTaSy can come in
Auto
here.
turrets too.
Muting all of these tanks, beautifully done. It's going to give that infantry a little bit more time. SpeCial siege tank spread is 2.
What is this?
But here comes a huge counterattack. Is there anything really back here?
No, I mean,
not really, right? And in fact, I think with the tank on the high ground, if he gets some vision over there, he can shoot that down as well.
The 3-3's going to go down too.
FanTaSy is going to push in, wedging his way in even further here.
This is so weird. We don't even know how to cast this.
I'm not clear.
There's things going on everywhere.
I think that FanTaSy might actually have this, though. He's got the tank count.
FanTaSy's
he's got
on the
enough
production
infantry.
Too. Huge thing here is when you're on top of the production.
FanTaSy wins. Yeah, the thing is that with tanks and that much bio, you can actually push into the main with just bio, which is all that SpeCial had. There's no way to push into FanTaSy's main because he has tanks there on the high ground. It's also a little bit ambiguous how many tanks he had there. He actually, I think, only had 1 or 2, but that's still enough.
Yeah, I mean, if he did go up that ramp, he would have taken a bad enough fight that SpeCial could have just, or FanTaSy could have turned around and killed your army.
That was a pretty cool game, but I have to say there were mistakes made on both sides.
Yeah, which is
sure.
exciting though, because you know, an unperfect game is always exciting in my opinion.
I actually hate it when people only want perfect games. I'm like, seriously, do you even know what you like?
You don't want
what are you talking about? What do you? That actually is seriously one of my pet peeves. I actually got triggered for a little bit just talking about that because people are like, I just want to watch perfect play. I'm like, you don't even know what perfect play looks like.
Yeah, imperfect games are always really interesting.
Imperfect games can be fascinating and exciting, the drama, the twists.
Actually, I feel this really strongly in Brood War too, because Brood War there's like crazy things happening. Like
and there's also crazy errors that are happening, which is what makes it fun to watch too.
Right.
It's like you got to have that drama. We're gonna go to Acropolis for Game 2, SpeCial versus FanTaSy. Continues on. Okay, so I was talking to SpeCial ahead of time, and he was telling me that if Game 1 goes poorly, he's going to try something crazy in Game 2.
It looks like he's doing it.
Yep.
So
is he going to make it?
What is it? It looks like so there's Proxy Reaper, there's Proxy Marine.
Yes.
There's Proxy Marauder.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about it. I think that's about it. All the proxies.
Those
there's
sound
Proxy
like all
1
the barracks
Rex.
units.
There's Proxy 2 Rex. There's Proxy 3 Rex. There's Proxy 4 Rex.
I believe this is 2 Rex.
Yeah. So the question is it Reaper? I think we saw Innovation go Marauders. I'm not sure if this was in TVT or not, though.
The Marauder proxies generally seem to be about sniping the first units that come out and then snowballing it.
Yeah, snowball.
The Reaper ones can operate that way as well. It sort of depends, but Reaper has a snowball element.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see what it is, but it probably makes more sense to be Reapers. The SCV comes across the map. Keen is so he respects everything, and it's kind of weird to proxy someone who's like that. Or FanTaSy, yeah, sorry. He's gonna respect everything, especially when he's up 1-0. Like, I don't know why you would just start cutting corners when you're up 1-0. You just kind of want to close out the series. Also, he looked so dominant last game. So he's going to come up here and see no barracks and know exactly what's up. At least he should have a hypothesis to what's up.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things about there it is, insta-cancels, 300 back to the spank, and he's just going to try to hard hold the attack here.
Yeah.
And 2 bunkers is going to totally mute the progress of a Reaper build, which is exactly what SpeCial's doing here.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jay.
He's getting a factory now. He's not going to take too much damage here. I don't think SpeCial's going to be able to do too much here. He should just start macroing immediately, like based off this scout. Like you see 2 bunkers, you're not going to be like, well, I can break that.
Yeah, there's the CC being thrown down. Now, when you do this as FanTaSy, I mean holding this, I should say, as FanTaSy, you know that you are also giving up a little bit as far as where you wanted to be because you made 2 bunkers.
Yeah.
You canceled your command center. So I wouldn't say SpeCial strategy worked, but it did make FanTaSy react. Now, the question here is what pattern, what sequence can FanTaSy follow to get back into this game? Because SpeCial CC has started first.
Look at this SCV getting away. Okay, no, it doesn't. That was almost very cool. So SpeCial has the advantage for command centers, and FanTaSy has the advantage for tech. His factory is slightly faster. It's finished, actually, so it's not slightly faster. It's much faster. And the command center is slightly ahead. I would say this game is pretty even, so we'll have to see who can take their advantage. I mean, like, their barracks are out of commission, so there's a big trade here. I mean, the supplies are basically the same. There's nothing huge here.
Development is slowed down as your barracks are lifted.
FanTaSy's still respecting it. Like, he's respecting the possibility that there's just like a million Reapers being built up. As soon as he sees this, I bet he cancels those bunkers.
Well, he needs to salvage them pretty quickly here.
Yeah, we'll probably see a salvage.
Now, this has been standard in proxy play. I think most publicly since Maro started doing it a while back is that one barracks goes back home to resume production. The other barracks is lifted and sent in there as like some kind of a super overlord to scout this main and confirm exactly what the tech is. And from here, the edge the proxy player can pull out is that they have at least usually once the barracks is scouted, a proper read on what kind of game, in this case, the Red Terran is going to try to play, and they're going to try to do their own counterplay towards that.
Right.
But, of course, production-wise, it's a little bit cleaner here for the other player since he didn't have to lift off buildings and reorganize.
Yeah. I mean, at this point... Oh, he just scanned... he scanned... I don't know if that cloak was started beforehand and he wanted to go Banshees, but he scanned it, and now it's canceled, so... Funny thing is, Terran players are so good that when they scan it, there's like a metagame here, because you scan it,
and then you try to fake it out, yeah.
But I feel like Terran players should actually just let it go.
Yeah!
Because like,
there's something about that when they scout it at top levels, and you're like, no, I'm still doing it, bro.
Yeah, like, that Cyclone is pointing backwards. It's weird.
Yeah.
What is it pointing at? What are you pointing at right now?
Its head's built on backwards.
So yeah, FanTaSy's just going to assume that there's no Cloak Banshee. I mean... Be weird.
This might be something we see pop into the meta, though.
It would be fun. It would be funny. I feel like you can utilize Cloak Banshees really well, especially if they don't know it's coming, or they don't think it's coming, rather. Raven's being built from both sides, playing it safe. Nothing crazy. We're probably going to see another game. I think in general this favors FanTaSy, though, because FanTaSy really misread the last game and still played a really good bio game.
Well, this is the thing about FanTaSy is I actually predict in, like, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, so like next summer or the summer after that, we're going to see FanTaSy possibly be the best player in the world. Because he was a really late bloomer in StarCraft 1.
Yeah.
Like, he was like I moved to Korea like 11 and a half years ago, and right when I got here was FanTaSy in his prime. And then it was a couple years later, and then StarCraft 2 finally came out.
And he did well there, too.
Yeah, but he was not the guy that immediately... his mind didn't track onto the game that fast.
Right.
And he had a lot of these errors, kind of like what we saw in Game 1, where it's like, why is he making Marauders? And you were saying maybe he misread it, and I'm saying, well, I don't know. FanTaSy had all these crazy approaches, and you were right in that he had misread it. But I wonder if he has a little bit more time to keep working these kinks out of his play, if he becomes like an unstoppable player.
It's very possible, too. Like, he looks really scary. And another thing to think about, too, is he finished his military service. So, you know, he basically has full freedom to be the best player if he wants to be.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the stuff he did was so obtuse and weird that it was just really hard to, like, ever figure out, you know, what he was doing, or even hard to imitate. You know, you would see his builds and try to copy it, and you're like, I don't know.
Right.
Didn't work out for me at all. By the way, SpeCial starting to move out here.
Yeah, they're just kind of posturing on the map.
Yeah, this
Terran
is
players are really cute when they do this. Where, like, you're never gonna fight with, what is it, 2 tanks and 10 Marines? Like, maybe.
It
It'd
can
be really
happen.
weird.
It can happen a lot pre-stim too, because both
Yeah.
players feel safe. Now, special stim is going to finish a little bit more quickly here.
I see they're both doing it. They're just like roaming. This is to, remember when I was talking about like how they just siege up and kill you? This
Yeah.
is to prevent that, because you can
Yeah,
engage
yeah.
that army before it happens.
Where they come out and they go, ah!
Yeah, like, I'm just here. Like,
Yeah.
hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
You should have been. You should have had stuff on the mini map.
exactly. So
So
they're
now I
just
can
kind of
walk over
roaming,
here and just do this.
full map presence, but nobody's engaging. It's not going to happen. I do like Fantasy's army again more than I like Specials, just based off of like a high tank count. Oh, I guess Special does too. Oh, he has
Okay, so
medevacs.
Special's going to come in here with an initiate.
Oh.
Keep in mind Ravens with disable. Sometimes auto turrets as well. Depends on how people want to engage here.
Sensor Tower is going to see that this engagement is coming. Should be getting his
Wait,
tanks
did
in
it?
good
Did
positions.
it actually see it? Okay, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to try to come through here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is a pretty good spot to be in if you're Special, forcing sieges and unsieges. But I'm like that they're both not doing it. This is really nice from Fantasy, because I don't think Specials knows this is out on the map at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of Marines over there, which he should have seen that lack of army. But no, I mean, when there's much going on, maybe
Yeah.
not, right?
Ooh.
But
Another
there's
drop.
also the chance for, this other big drop coming in here. Now, 1-1's about to finish. I believe the main base is basically naked, right? Oh, there's one siege tank here. This is, I guess, sort of the bare minimum you need to hold this off.
There was a weird rogue Marine that actually scouted this medevac. Oh, and his base is wide open. Double medevac drop in the main. This is really annoying if you're Fantasy. Oh, and there's a siege tank too. Like, just killing a couple of reactors is so much. Like, this limits your production. You have to rebuild the reactors. It's going to kill some barracks.
It would have been better if he just shot down all the reactors, or does it not really matter? He's doing damage either way.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been better. He's just trying to do the best.
Whoa! 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 What am I seeing?
Big mistake
Oh
for
my
Special.
God!
He could have saved all of that.
Yeah!
That's just a mistake. There's nothing to read into that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he really misplayed that. He actually could have gotten out and only lost the tank, which would have been a perfectly fine.
This is so tense.
Yeah, I know someone needs to do something pretty quickly here.
Yeah. Okay, comes back in with the 1 medevac that he did get out. This could have been 2 medevacs, and now it's 1. And all the Marines are dead. Uh-oh. Does save his tanks. Oh, that's double disable. Can he
Hold
get
on,
these tanks?
There might be enough on the ground here.
Oh, this is kind of scary for Fantasy.
Oh, wait. What?
Oh!
Wait. No.
What?
The circle shape goes through the square hole. I don't know what I just saw back there.
That was almost really cool, and then it just kind
That was the most ambitious tactic I've ever seen not work. He wanted to actually come in there and drop everything out and then win the fight, and he lost in more ways than one can easily calculate.
Now he can't really stop the Fantasy hammer from coming down on him as these tanks move forward. There's really nothing here to support. I mean, he has Ravens too, so he has a couple disables. Once he has enough disables to take out these tanks, he can just push forward and kill him. Look at SpeCial just lifts off immediately. He knows he's not saving the space.
Oh God, this is getting worse for Special.
This is a 4th though.
The screws are starting to tighten here. This Fantasy is now locked Special into the right side of the map. He's going to go for a... That was so crazy.
That was
okay,
almost
he was
really bad.
trying to set up infantry on the ramp because you can cut circulation there.
Ooh, Liberators here.
You just send that one Liberator over there to snipe that medevac and then run away.
This is actually not a terrible position. Special could have just lost the game. So the fact that this game is not over is great. I mean, he basically lost 4 tanks and 2 medevacs for free, so the fact that this game didn't just end there is pretty incredible. I don't know why we're bouncing.
Why is the screen shaking? Is there an earthquake happening here?
Earthquake in game.
Yeah. In-game earthquake there. Okay, so you were seeing that too. I was like, what's going on with my eyes? Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
Fantasy is set up for an optional big drop in the main. This would be timed as the Terran is trying to reclaim the 4th since...
Oh no, on top of the ramp too.
That this
he
can
does
be a
shoot down
killing
that 1
blow.
medevac.
He'll need to get these tanks on the right here. Good disables. This should allow him to fight over at the ramp while still getting a good setup here. Special's army is getting ground
There's
up.
only 1 tank.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Fantasy loses everything. That was really, really efficient for Special.
Did he send the other tanks back home? Was there just only 1 tank?
I actually think the medevac got sniped off or something, because there's only 2 tanks in that medevac drop.
But having that tank difference is pretty big.
Yeah. There was not enough tanks there. That was almost really cool.
If you have enough tanks and then the infantry's there, Now, we might have another skirmish in the middle of the map again here.
6 Vikings versus none. That's a pretty big difference. It's 100% more Vikings.
Yeah, and that means you're going to have the air control so you can spot with your siege tanks, snipe medevacs, I mean, all the good stuff.
Stop liberators. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Everything. I mean, Vikings, I think, oftentimes get ignored in these big fights or in unit compositions because people are so caught up with tank counts and angles and marines. And,
I don't like this. He's splitting up his army. Half of his army's getting cut off for free. That was really bad.
Oh, my God. He actually could have even killed more with those Vikings.
Yeah, it's still in medevacs. Oh, no. He's losing a tank? Okay. That was a really scrappy fight for both players.
Yeah, overextensions on both sides.
Ooh, nice. Liberator coming in. Just taking attention away from the army. Allowing SpeCial to possibly posture and do some kind of attack. Looks like the game is starting to slow down a little bit because there was things going on like crazy.
There's been too much going on now.
Oh, he's
hold
going
on,
in.
hold on. FanTaSy out of position here. These tanks, very snipeable. We have another siege line being set up behind this as FanTaSy's defenses are collapsing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, SpeCial can't push forward. I mean, somehow these traits are even, you know? Like, 2 tanks did go down, a lot of Marines went down. I think I would always take the tanks dying. If you're SpeCial, it's always a better fight.
Yeah, I agree.
But it is double factory, too. Say both, both double factory, yeah. 6 tanks to 13 right now.
Yeah, SpeCial definitely with tank superiority. So if SpeCial wants a position here and he gets it set up, it probably can't be contested.
The only thing that's really good for FanTaSy is the Viking count. These medevacs can get picked off really quickly. A bunch of tanks going down from FanTaSy. That is really bad. He already has a really small tank count. 3 to 12 now. I almost feel like we could unsiege and go. Yeah, it looks like we are. I don't see how we can stop this from happening. It's just coming.
Yeah, this is the inevitable.
There's
this push is coming forward here. I mean, once SpeCial was able to set up those tanks just outside the fourth.
How does this happen, though? Like, think about it.
FanTaSy screwed up with that big drop in the main.
Yeah, that's
for what?
true.
I mean, that was just.
That's true.
I get the idea, but if there's only one tank there,
that was
you will never hold that.
Point.
I mean, then you're actually in this like fish in a barrel moment where they just shoot down all your infantry. And I think SpeCial was easily able to stretch out. I mean, considering how this game started, where FanTaSy was hammering away at SpeCial, I think it's a pretty unfortunate
SpeCial
throw
just
here
away those medevacs. Too.
Yeah, that was just not good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a possibility, but it's so unlikely. These 2 Marines getting dropped off.
Okay, so another drop over here into the main.
There's nothing here. I mean, this could do something. Even if it just pulls SpeCial back, that's great. But I mean, there's not enough to really threaten SpeCial here. 1 barracks goes down, that's nothing. This gets cleaned up, and SpeCial can continue to move forward.
Okay, actually, this could be pretty big. Okay, SpeCial's going to unsiege very quickly here.
There's enough tanks here that you can unsiege half of them. And
oh
still
my God, actually, this angle could be really good. Okay, really good escape there from SpeCial. But I got to say, the FanTaSy's leapfrogging is pretty impressive.
Yeah, he needs to back up.
I think he's lost like 4 tanks in this process, which is pretty big. Keep in mind, big picture tank count, it's 10 to 6.
That's a pretty big difference. Though it is getting smaller.
Yeah, it's getting closer together.
It was 3 to 13.
Yeah, FanTaSy needs to hope that he can get that tied up and maybe come out with some kind of a lead here. But as FanTaSy has chased SpeCial away, we have to remember that SpeCial has still kept a 4th base that's been mining this whole time.
Yeah.
And in fact, SpeCial is maxed out with both a high amount of minerals and gas to spend. So FanTaSy is losing in a lot of different ways here. It'll take a lot of big wins or a lot of big blunders for FanTaSy to come out. I should say big wins for FanTaSy, big blunders for SpeCial to come out in a position that's favorable.
I mean, FanTaSy's finally getting his 3-3 too, though. So even some of the gaps that were there are starting to close, honestly. There's such a back and forth TVT. I mean, look at this. This is great. He's going to get a free CC here. If he doesn't finish that off, that would be a huge mistake.
Are you kidding me? Okay, he probably should have finished that off.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to die. I don't think so, though.
I can't imagine that he lets it burn down.
Yeah, it's a
we have to assume he saves it.
I agree. It's just stimming and getting out of there. Oh, another one. Does he get that one instead?
Yeah, right. Make up for lost ground there.
What
okay. Actually.
Doesn't get it again.
What?
Oh, he's going to let it burn down.
My OCD.
We said we couldn't let that happen.
14, 10, 9, 8, 14, 2, 1, 2.
Boom.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Easy SpeCial.
Yeah, SpeCial does get a lot on the back foot, though. Does lose that CC, but cleans up quite a bit in the top. Also, he still has the other CC that did not burn down.
That's right.
The one that we assumed it did not burn down.
That's right. We had to assume. Remember that, Jake.
Yeah. Good commentators.
Us casters had to make the right call for the people.
Yeah, the people wouldn't know, but we know. Look at that.
Now, SpeCial still stretched out to the upper right. I feel like SpeCial has still got enough momentum. He can take this. He hasn't won it yet, of course, but he can.
Yeah.
If he keeps this going.
I mean, look at how many bases he's taken, too, though.
Yeah.
So scary.
It's funny because FanTaSy was actually playing so well, but he just sort of got ahead of himself and tripped himself up.
Yeah. I mean, SpeCial basically gave it to him at some point, too. He's like, here, take 2 medevacs and 4 tanks, you know? And then was completely on the back foot. Nice disables.
So SpeCial's going to try to come in here.
That is so many tanks. Those are going to go
oh my
instantly
God, there's like
obliterated.
no way. Yeah, there's no way you can contest that.
Nice disables, actually.
The disables are sick because he actually is going to be able to allow his tanks to try to fight this, but there's too many Marines.
Yeah, the Marines are pushing forward. They don't even care.
Whoa.
Look at how many tanks there are.
Yeah. I think this might be the point of no return.
Yeah.
I think SpeCial has taken his lead. It is now ready to close this out.
That means we're going to get another 2-1. We're going to be here all night.
All night, baby. But wait. A drop here at 6 o'clock?
I feel like all these tanks could unsiege and we could just go. If we really wanted to be sloppy, you know? Like,
well,
you would never do that, but
you say that,
could.
but then he probably would actually die if he unsieged and just went for it.
Could he? Look at how many. Look at there's 2
Look at the Ravens.
tanks.
He disables all of them.
Yeah. And then you still kill him somehow. Using the tanks as, like, body blockers or something.
You find out for the first time that the tanks can run over the army. You're like, whoa.
I love if they just add those kind of mechanics. You just mess with programmers
Just without
so
telling anybody.
Yeah. If I was a game dev, I would just do this.
We just watch the tank roll over him, and then you see the game pause.
You're like, what?
And you and me are talking for 45 minutes as the pro gamers are losing their minds.
And everybody else down there is like, what's
going on?
The production staff are like, how do we stop this?
Yeah.
Hold on. He's on siege. He's only sieged 3 tanks.
Yeah, those are the ones that could have been hit too.
Yeah. 2 tanks just gone down for free. The supplies are evened out, actually, 190. The problem is the tank counts are a huge difference. Actually, it's not anymore. It's 8 and 8. What happened?
But the gas count is so high. Well, he lost those 3 tanks over there. But the gas count is high enough that the tanks can be remade pretty easily.
The problem is, though, if one fight goes heavily in favor, like, it doesn't really matter because that tank count, are like, you know what I mean? If one fight goes really one-sided, that person's going to win, even with a tank or a gas difference like this. Looks like it's not going one-sided enough. SpeCial should take this. He's going to get another CC in the the top right. FanTaSy's struggling to defend it. He might just get there in time. It looks like he won't. It's going to burn down.
He's like, this is how you finish command centers off, FanTaSy.
Oh.
What?
We didn't see that.
I don't know what happened.
He did clean up all those tanks, though. It's now 4 tanks to 7.
SpeCial's. Careful, nerd.
He's actually going to get disabled, possibly.
Easy, nerd.
I don't know how much energy those Ravens have because for whatever reason we don't have.
He now doesn't have enough minerals. He has a lot of gas. He doesn't have minerals to just easily remake the tanks. SpeCial.
3 Ravens to 1.
Easy. Careful. He had such a lead.
And somehow it's even again. But to be fair, look at the base count though. Like, look at FanTaSy. And look at SpeCial on the right side of the whole right side of the map is SpeCials.
Yeah. But I mean, this is a real matchup about positioning. You can have a lot, and it's not like you can just remake it all. You know, you're not like Zerg where you just like suddenly have it all again.
Yeah. The only thing I'm scared for SpeCial is if somehow FanTaSy just crushes you. Like, completely obliterates this army.
Well, I think he could with the Ravens, right? I mean, there's 4 tanks here.
Yeah, he has more than 4 disables, too. Oh! Oh, my God, what?
FanTaSy.
If he does this, he stops the production and completely crushes SpeCial, the game will end, and SpeCial will lose in a game that he should never lose. It looks like he's starting to do that right now.
Oh, my God. This is why this guy was so good.
Yeah,
just right before StarCraft 2 came out. Like, he was just like, nobody could stop him. Now, I'm not saying the game's over yet.
He's going to get another 2 tanks.
It's like perfect play.
Oh, no.
My God. Okay, so we got to get a shot back at the main. What's happening?
Does get cleaned up, but totally did enough damage. He's going to do it again.
Dude, he's so good. Look at this.
He's going to do it again. Look at all these Marines. If he takes this fight, he should crush it.
Yeah,
There's no tanks here.
No, that's it.
Oh, he's going to get the medevacs as they leave.
He's so good. Do you stim again? Do you just keep going?
I think you keep going.
Just
okay, maybe not. Maybe not.
Don't listen to what I'm saying. FanTaSy, I'm bad. Now, he has an energy right for another disable?
I believe so. Yes, he does. He has 2 more disables for looks like it. Maybe 1.
FanTaSy mumbles. This one's going in my highlight reel and does it again.
Yeah. There's enough tanks here.
Well, he can actually. There's not enough tanks over here for SpeCial to where I think FanTaSy can actually keep drilling through.
Needs to be careful, though. All these Marines are so important right now.
Cheeto dusted, boys. Uh-oh.
Oh, he loses a tank. FanTaSy needs to crush this fight. He can't have a 50-50 trade. The economy's not good enough.
Very exposed.
Yeah.
Planetaries do not help as much in TVTs.
No, it just stops like Marine stims or
yeah,
something.
you can still siege up and cause a headache. That's why tank counts are so important.
What's this rogue tank doing out here from before?
Oh, yeah, this guy's completely surrounded.
So, I'm really scared for FanTaSy because he needs to have a fight that he can just win one-sidedly. If it's a 50-50, Special kills you because he has a million bases right now.
Is there merit in another big drop in the main?
Oh, yeah.
Like 2 medevacs filling up with Marines and just going for it? Oh, look at this. FanTaSy immediately
The problem is there's not enough medevacs. You want to just doom drop your entire army. There's only 4 medevacs, though.
Well, you wait. There's about to be 6, my friend.
Oh, then maybe he'll go for it.
Quick with the siege.
Comes the Liberators. This is bad.
Oh,
FanTaSy's gonna hit.
FanTaSy needs
One
to
of his
back
tanks is actually disabled. It's gonna die because he can't unsiege. Oh, those 3 Marines are not doing nothing. This is what the planetary is for. It's
yeah.
for the 3 Marines.
Uh-oh.
All right, this is an uphill battle, literally.
He's going to try to come forward once more. Tanks just below our production tab at the bottom.
Okay, here come the Liberators. Going to do so much work here, forcing stims into siege tanks. Though that Liberator was a little too far forward. Comes to disables. Special's fighting without his siege tanks, but it doesn't matter. There's a huge surround. Everything goes
big
down.
One for Special. That's what he needed to do to close that out. Beautifully done. Damn, you can see
he's happy.
Juanito's definitely pleased with that game. Yeah. Considering how that started, FanTaSy shutting down the proxy racks. Great play. But ultimately, Special was able to steer that one into a win.
Yeah. I mean, FanTaSy didn't necessarily do anything wrong. It was, well, besides the Doom Drop. But the Doom Drop is in hindsight wrong. You know, like maybe he just wins the game there. You know, you can't really tell for sure.
It's hard.
The thing was, it's unnecessary risk, though, right?
Right.
Like when you're already ahead, you consider yourself ahead. Why take an unnecessary risk where you could possibly lose the game from that point?
Right.
That was the point where we were definitely said Special is now ahead. And it just seems unnecessary. So hopefully he can clean up his play because he's actually just a monster. He doesn't need to do plays like that.
No, I don't think so.
Hopefully we just see a completely standard, one-sided return for FanTaSy. Or Special, maybe
Time
clear it
for
out.
our new map.
Triton.
Let's see what TVT looks like on Triton. On Triton. And our game's loaded up. Let's go.
Fight! Ocean Gaming Special.
What was that? Did you see that?
I did not. What did he do?
I don't know. He's just sticking his tongue out a little.
People,
Pixel 1 FanTaSy.
people do funny things with their mouths when they're playing.
Yeah.
It's one of these. I mean, this is sort of just a funny thing about watching streams in general is like to show someone's face while they're playing a game to really see what somebody actually looks like.
Yeah.
When you're completely, when you're so focused into the game that the game becomes like almost part of you.
Yeah.
Like
your face just kind of does things at this point, you know?
Yeah, where you're like you and the game are one, and so you're just playing, and your mind is completely tethered to the game. That you might make weird things with your mouth or your face and just not, you know, not have any idea that you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do this thing where I'd make my lips smack without, like, obviously not intentional, but like I would like open my mouth and close it. And people were like, is he like eating while playing or something? You know?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Artos's stream is the perfect example of a guy who has no control over his face when he's playing any game.
Yeah.
Artosis is actually emotionally experiencing every part of the game as he's playing it.
It's great. I think that's what's so great about StarCraft is how immersed you can get into it, even though, you know, it has nothing to do with human, you know, anything. But you're just so immersed into what you're doing and what you're controlling. Did that Reaper just jump by that supply depot that's supposed to block a Reaper?
Apparently.
Okay. I don't know if he's trying to block that Reaper from doing that, but his own
Well,
Reaper
that was his own Reaper, so.
Yeah. Well, that means Special's Reaper can also do that.
But I think he probably makes another one there, right?
Maybe.
to just kind of finish the block.
Well, they're both doing it. I have no idea. I've never. I'm not a Terran player, so I don't know what the Reaper jump spots here.
Could be misleading too, just the way that the map is set up, where it's like put this depot here,
yeah.
and it's like not really.
That's funny. All right. Well, if this Reaper jumps, okay, it doesn't. There's not. Yeah. We'll see. We'll have to see. I'm very curious now.
So we've got both sides going for their command centers. Builds are fairly, similar for now. We've got the starport starting here for SpeCial, and FanTaSy's is just a little bit later.
Right.
And I got to say, this has been a back-and-forth series, and not just in results, but just how the games have panned out. We've had players take leads and kind of throw that lead away, and then the other player is able to scramble and get it back together.
Right. Yeah, TVT. Such an interesting matchup, though.
I've always found that TVT is the argument against people who hate mirror matchups.
I agree.
I actually still don't get why people really don't like mirror matchups.
I think they don't understand the game enough, honestly.
Totally fascinating, because you have two players starting out with exactly the same stuff, and then going in completely different directions and finding out one player can, in fact, come out ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes me sad, because I feel like a degree of StarCraft is just people obsessing about it not being bugs versus aliens.
No, it's
or
true,
humans
though.
versus aliens, where I'm like, really? Like,
I feel, yeah, I don't
mirror
understand.
matchups are awesome.
Especially TVT, because TVT is so positional, and like there's so much, there's a little bit of mind gaming, and there's drop harass. Like,
Well, I also don't feel like it's out of the other mirror matchups, I don't think it's hard to understand as a spectator.
No, it's not.
You know, once you basically point out, like in this case, right, with infantry and tanks, once you point out the role of the infantry, the role of the tanks, the role of the medevacs, and then as you get far enough along, the role of the Ravens and the Vikings, you just see this
for position.
Yeah, you see the symbiosis of how all the units interact, and then you see, this fight over position and territory, and trying to choke off points on the map. And I just don't get why people don't like mirror matchups, but it is a phenomenon in RTS. People bitching in chats or complaining on forums, or even sometimes viewership numbers. Like when we do finals out here, whether it's StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2, our numbers tend to be higher if it's not a mirror matchup.
That's
Which
true.
is just weird to me.
Well, I think there's certain matchups can definitely be more fun. Like TVZ is just really fun to watch.
TVT or TVZ? TVZ
versus Zerg. And PVZ, I can get it, but I don't know why people don't like TVT as much. I really don't. Or ZVZ even. Like PvP gets a little bit of slack, because sometimes the games just end abruptly. Like DTs fly in or something.
What's weird for me about that is that I find it exciting that things can end quickly.
Yeah. I think that's because you have a high expectation or high understanding of the game, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of a poker game always going on in PvP, right? Because there's so many different builds and different ways the game can bring itself to. So to kind of see that unfold is really what's exciting. But if you got a true appreciation for RTS matchups, there's so much that can and I think that just the different ways that matchups operate as well. That, for instance, not all StarCraft 2 games operate like TVT does with tank bio, right? Some of it's about tech switching. It's not all about skirmishes in the middle of the map with position. There's so much that can happen.
The only thing that's really interesting about mirror matchups is you literally start with the same tools. You're given the same tools, and you start with the same
things. And
you
can't balance wine.
Yeah, you can't balance wine in mirror matchups.
It's the purest form of RTS.
Yeah. They should actually just make RTS's only mirror matchups.
That's right.
Yeah, that would actually be the best type of RTS.
Oh, by the way, he's going to come in here with this Raven.
He's
going to auto-turret?
Auto-turret, yep.
Ah!
Stopping the SCV production. Might throw another one down. SCVs are running away from it. At that point, you don't even throw it down. You just keep chasing the SCVs.
Yeah, and then you just fly out. Uh-oh.
Might get one.
I'm not dead.
Does get one.
It's crazy how fast that fires. We saw this more often with the auto-turret chucks. It seems to be less common now.
Yeah, it was really often common against Zerg a while back. Like a while back.
No, but in TVT, I felt like we saw it a decent amount.
Yeah. Well, in TVT, too. I think the reason is that you want that energy for when you do a timing attack or something. You want to disable tanks, right?
Or we would see it used against... yeah, I guess that works. Used against Stim.
Yeah.
Oh, see you in hell.
That was a nice move by FanTaSy.
All right, takes out that...
Another reason why we don't do drops there, auto turret
Yeah,
drops.
it turns
Those are
out
so
the Raven
important.
is not a fast unit.
Yeah, the Ravens are just important. I think that's the thing is Terran players just realize how important they actually are
Yeah.
to keep alive. They're kind of like sentries.
It's not like a Liberator or you know something that comes out across the map and you know it's going to die, but you're going to kill some drones or something like that with
It's
it.
actually just expensive and it gets better as the game goes on because the
Yeah.
energy goes up and up. You get
Well,
two
the fact that
disables.
you can disable tanks, which is tanks are the most important unit in TVT. I mean, anything that can directly answer that's not also another tank trying to siege up and hit that tank in time before it gets vision is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about position being so important, and I think the Raven is the biggest positional tool that Terran has.
Well,
besides the tank, I
in
guess.
a lot of ways, the Raven is like a giant can opener for your opponent's army. You can come out there and get a position, and oh, hold on, we got a little drop coming in here.
Though there's a tank already in position.
Yep.
It's going to lose a couple of
He's going to siege up. Not the end of the world, but let's see the main here. Is there anything actually there? Not enough Marines to contest this, really. SCVs are going to be used to try to fight back. The next wave of Marines that comes out can try to help this a little bit longer. Meanwhile, SpeCial punches back in the middle of the map, but it seems like FanTaSy is ready with lightning reflexes there.
Is SpeCial picking up and possibly losing one siege tank here for free?
No, apparently.
Wow. I feel like that's a mistake, but you know.
Well, it's a tough call.
Yeah.
He would have been in range of 2 siege tank splash damage shots. Now, FanTaSy is beginning to march forward here, heading further north. You can get that with a Cyclone there, right?
I think so. It's close.
Okay.
It's close. The lock-on is really far, but you have to initiate the lock-on, you know?
Okay, coming down now. This is a pretty ambitious play, but great disables once again.
I think that was a big mistake. Like, it just felt like
Look at
SpeCial
this.
let FanTaSy do this, didn't it?
Well, I mean, it was a mistake there, but it was also perfect play by FanTaSy. Once the opening's there.
he's
Oh my
gonna
God,
move
he's
in.
doing it again.
Oh, these 3 tanks are
This
just
is
going to die.
what Ravens are for, SpeCial. How dare you auto-turret me?
Yeah, where's SpeCial's Raven? It's
Yeah.
dead.
Oh, it's in Raven hell.
Because it killed 7
With all the
SCVs.
other naughty Ravens.
Yeah, this is scary. I don't know how you stop this.
Okay, so this is problematic for SpeCial because there's now an isolated area.
Oh,
no, 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 no,
big
no, no.
mistake.
There's now an isolated area. Oh,
He's actually
like-
just panicking a
you
little
ever
bit
feel like
now.
sometimes SpeCial seems like he's playing too fast?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he moves out and it's like, wait.
No, this felt like a bit of a
Okay,
panic.
FanTaSy
now.
wins this.
Yeah,
GG. As the FanTaSy fans go wild.
Yeah. I mean, really, really solid play from FanTaSy. All 3 games, honestly. Even the game he lost felt really good. Like, there was a mistake, but he's just playing solid mechanically. Mechanical TVT.
Damn. FanTaSy, again, with that disable play on the tanks,
Right.
2 at a time.
And moving
Sieges
forward,
up,
yeah.
takes him out. He's really perfected that. Again, clip me on it. I
Right.
think he's going to be one of the best, if not the best player in the world in a year to 2.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
if
I
I'm
can
wrong,
see it.
then
He's really
don't clip me on it, okay? I mean, don't throw me under the bus here, guys. You know how to do it.
Only clip you if you're right.
Only clip me if I'm right. You know what to do. Up next, Dark vs. FanTaSy for the winners match. We'll be going to that in just a little bit, so do not go away.